All right, welcome back to the Diver Guide channel. Today we're going to talk about back and reverse entries, and I'm going to break it up into a few different parts. There's some important stuff that we have to go over about what you do above the water, and then we're going to talk about the stuff that happens under the water, and then finally we'll go over some specific examples of different things that can happen, which there's basically endless possibilities of how a back entry can go, but these foundational elements will be present in basically all of them, and that's what I want to try and teach you today. It's a complicated subject, and mastering a knee save is extremely difficult and it will take time. So after I go over everything I can think of, it's going to take a lot of practice, but at least you'll understand the movement overall and the differences between a voluntary and an optional. So without further ado, let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe, tell everybody you know about this channel, because this is something I wish I had when I was a kid. So first we're going to talk about above the water. What's happening on back and reverse entries? For a voluntary, you're going to have less pull, which means you're going to be a little bit more flat and a little bit stronger, working on the lengthening through the entry, not as much about pulling into an archy position. Some common mistakes that you see are when a diver's chin is down too much, which takes them out of alignment, as you can see here, and when you grab your hands too far out in front of your face. When you grab that far out, it can lock up your shoulders a little bit, and it can make it hard to get to that final position that you need to for the entry. If you think about it, if you grab your hands when they're down by your belly button or waist, and you go all the way around to get above your head, that is the longest path that your hands can go to get where they need to go. So it's much faster to zip through kind of closer to your body and keep your hands right in front of your nose and face as they come through. This will be a faster movement and a much better habit to get into. On back dive pike and back dive straight or reverses, you'll see that sometimes people will go out wide, and that's kind of a preference. Your coach might teach you one way or the other for pike, but for straight, you kind of have to set, which means that your arms are out by your side, like you're making a T position, and they close laterally above your head. So you want your chin slightly tilted up with your eyes looking up over your eyebrows. You want to be cradling your head in between your arms. There needs to be an airtight pocket that you create with your shoulders and biceps right behind your ears. And you want to be grabbing your hands in a way that you can kind of rotate your wrist back slightly. That way you're really leading with the hand as you're going into the water. The last thing that you have to do is shrug up as much as you can and pretend like you're being pulled from your toes and your hands at the same time to stretch. The more you stretch, the tighter the hole will be that you make in the water, and the easier it will be to rip. The most common struggle that people have at this point is that they don't understand how to shrug up enough to create an airtight pocket around their head, because it's a little uncomfortable at first, and your shoulders have to get used to shrugging up that much. And that takes us to the next step, which is underwater. As soon as your hands hit the water, you have to separate and start the swim. The swim starts with your fingers coming apart and kind of flaring out as your triceps squeeze and they stay completely locked out straight as you swim. Now, the optimal path for your arms to take is either right in line with your body, laterally, or slightly behind your body. You can kind of let your arms go behind your back just a little bit. The big trick to this is that you have to keep your triceps completely locked out. Some people have double jointed elbows. They're able to hyperextend their elbows. That's great because it helps you keep your arms straight as you swim. But if you don't have that, you have to really squeeze your triceps harder than you've ever squeezed before and keep your arms completely straight in order to do the swim. This is important because, as I went over in the front entry video, you have to spread out all of the air that you bring down with you. And the swim is one of the most important parts of that because you're pushing that extra air out to the side. That's why you see people have these 3 distinct bubbles when they do it properly. Those 2 bubbles to the side that come up after they go underwater is their arms pushing away extra air. If you don't do that, the hole that you make with your body will cave in on itself and it will create a bigger splash. That's why we have to keep our arms completely locked out and swim as fast as we can as soon as we hit the water. The second part to this is that your chin is already slightly up. As you go into the water, your chin is going to keep going up over your eyes even more. This will start the knee save progression. You see all of these divers arching their back and making a J motion. They go down and make a quick scoop back up. That starts with as you swim behind your back a little bit, the chin comes up and it naturally progresses into that J motion. You should do this for every back and reverse entry. If you are going extremely short on the dive, you have to go deeper before you do the motion. The closer you are to vertical, the more you're going to knee save, and as you go past vertical, it becomes extremely important to do the last part, the knee save. So to recap, we've got the arms are completely locked out. As you hit the water, your hands separate, your triceps squeeze, and you keep your arms a little bit behind your body as you swim out to the side with locked out triceps, and your head starts to tilt back, which will begin that motion of the knee save. And now ideally, your arms are already at about shoulder height when your body is halfway through the water. That's how fast this swim has to be. A lot of these videos, the swim is too late. That's just because you go under the water at a very fast pace, and it's hard to get the timing right. At this point, you're already starting to arch your back, and you should be bending your knees to make it appear that your legs are still straight as you're going underwater. The speed that you do this will vary depending on how far over your entry is. If you're doing a voluntary and you touched too high or you kicked too high, then you're going to have to knee save a lot faster and you're going to have to swim a lot harder to get yourself under the water quick and make it look like your legs are still straight as you're going under. For the longest time when I was a diver, I had trouble with the timing of the knee save, and I actually had to do it on my back optionals. As soon as my hands hit the water, I would think swim and knee save at the same time because that's how fast I had to process the information in order to execute it at the right time. Otherwise, my feet would always kick over slightly at the end because I was too late on the knee save, which is what you see in this video here. As they go in the water, they're swimming okay, but their legs just flop over at the end because they're not engaging their hamstrings to pull those feet back up to make it look like they're still vertical, which if you think about it, it's the last thing the judges are going to see, how vertical your legs are. And it's a very simple change to just engage the hamstrings, make the legs look like they're straighter to get a point higher, maybe even a 1.5 higher on your score. One of the common mistakes that people make with their knee save is that the timing is just wrong. There's so many moving parts that it's hard to break it down. And so what I recommend is going one step at a time. If you can do a back lineup with your arms above your head, that takes away the need to do any of the above water stuff. So you're just falling in backwards with your arms already in the position that they need to be. They're behind your ears slightly. Your wrists are turned back a little bit. That way hands are ready to hit the water. And all you have to think about is stretching and waiting to hit the water. That will allow you to practice your reaction time to just swimming. Swim as fast as you can. You hit the water, swim. You hit the water, swim. And then once you really feel like your hands are separating and your arms are staying straight enough on the swim, then you can start to think about the chin moving up as you go through that swim. And you'll naturally start that knee save a lot faster. From there, you'll be able to add in the last bit of engaging your hamstrings and pointing your toes to make sure that your legs stay vertical as you go in. But this is definitely a long process.